Name of that song is Four More Weeks by a band called Vans in Japan. I like that. It's been over a week since I did a video. This is for family and friends. It's an update to let everybody know what I'm doing, what's been going on. Number one, yesterday I got up. I had a lot of running to do, so I got with my son Nick to get me to drive me around, which he graciously did. I felt like dog do all day. Then I found out last night why. I did not take my morning medication yesterday, including pain pills to get me through the day. I've had an excessive amount of trauma to my tired old body. So last night I took them all of them at one time when I found that they were still in the cup. I have a little red Solo cup. They're shot size, and no, I don't drink, but I thought the cups looked kind of cool, so I bought some. And the Play-Doh lids off the miniature Play-Doh deals, they fit that cup so it seals everything in like it's in a pill bottle. So last night I took them all at one time. The other problem I had is yesterday was shot day. I take a double dose of Ozempic on Thursday afternoons. It's for a weight loss, but it's also for my diabetes. And I take a lot of drugs for diabetes. Anyway, I'm not doing real well right now, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I'm doing quite well. My second to the youngest son, Benjamin, came over to attend to some things for his daughter Zara Monday afternoon at 3:30. Zara and I have to be at an appointment. I think it's at it's at the Lighthouse in Sulphur. She has an appointment at 3:30, and then she's got, is that 3:30 or 2:30? 3:30. Then she has one at 4 o'clock. So I'm gonna leave those cards right there. She and Papa will hop in the pickup and run over there and take care of it. Hopefully my son Brandon's car will be fully functional by the end of the day today. My youngest son Chris, who's a mechanic, will be coming over to work on it some more. He's having brake issues. I guess I'll just line everything out as to what's been going on. As you can see, I've got glasses on. 6 months later, they finally get the right prescription, which I'm happy about. This lens is pretty much clear. This lens, I've had bad damage to my left eye. I used to be an idiot when I was younger. Most people are, but not to the extent I was. And I've had a lot of damage to that eye. So I have 20/225 vision in that eye, which basically is I'm blind in it. It also has a blurry spot, which they can't cure, but they did get it so that now I can at least make things out other than shapes with it. This one, 2017, I'm slightly farsighted. That's the only real problem with my right eye. The problem I have is I'm left-handed and left eye dominant. Well, this is becoming my dominant eye simply because I can't see out of that one. which is no fun. I'm in the office, which is readily apparent. Linda is up from sleeping in a little bit, and after I do this, I'll upload it and then I will go in. I have really been burning the candle at both ends. I know everybody gets tired of hearing that, but it's true. This is supposed to be my wife and my golden years, where we get to spend time and run around and do things together. My best friend is a guy named Jerry Pletcher. He's a bit older than me. He and his wife don't get to do that. They're both still hitting it hard. And Jerry's pretty much rich, but he's still hitting it hard. So that is part of life. Now I want to address something. There's a lot of, just a second, a lot of fear right now. I have quite a few folks that correspond with me on different venues, whether it's Messenger and Facebook or texting me on my phone. Speaking of which, I need to put my big phone on the charger. So hang on a second. And I don't have the charger in here. I can do it like this. Let me put that back in there. There you go. You plug it in. Well, good thing I did that. It's down to 54%. Need to see who it was that was texting me a while ago. It'll do that sometimes. It'll go off like there's text, and then I get to the message deal and there's not one. I still like it. I like it a lot better than the other more. This one was not a cheap cell phone. The one I had before that was the cheapest one I could get. I bought it for $25. Let me explain something. You get what you pay for. So I gave it to my grandson Cheyenne so he could play games on it. This one, it does what I need it to do. So that I'm very thankful for. Some things that have been going on here. Years ago, Linda and I bought, about 5-6 years ago, bought a Vizio smart TV. It's not a large screen, but it's the next one to a large screen. And it's big enough. It's like a 40-inch screen, something like that. Sits on a table across from her chair and my chair in the parlor, and we watch things on it. And one of the problems we've had with that television is we watch a lot of YouTube. And due to a conflict between Arbuckle Communications, which is basically a satellite provider for internet, and anyone that uses Starlink as their internet connection and does videos on YouTube, it would Vizio. What I mean by that, all of a sudden we'd lose what we're watching in big bold white letters on a black screen. Vizio, V-I-Z-I-O, would come across the screen, and it was quite aggravating. So my wife, bless her heart, she always is looking and figuring things out. She figured that out. She found something online called a Roku stick for $39 or $49. I think it was $39 is what she found. But lo and behold, something in the back of my mind kept telling me I've seen that at Walmart. So sure enough, I was at Walmart yesterday, might have been the day before yesterday, I don't remember. But I was on an electric go-kart and I tooled around and I found one. And we hooked it up to that Vizio television, which is the worst smart TV made. And lo and behold, it fixed the problem. And we're inputting stuff now so we can watch what we want without the thing going dead. The Roku stick fixed it so we can watch YouTube and other things without having problems. Well, then in here, I thought it was due to me bucking around a really big television, Sanyo television, that belongs to my son Nick. Is why I was hurting so bad yesterday and so ill. That was before I discovered I hadn't taken my medication. Well, I thought, you know, that worked on that Vizio, it should work on that Sanyo television. So I bought one for Nick's TV. Well, in here it wouldn't get the Wi-Fi connection. It had a little bit of one. So I thought, you know, I probably need a switch for Nick's bedroom. But what I needed was a Wi-Fi expansion thing with two little antennas. I bought one of those yesterday. Nick and I took it home and he got his television working beautifully in his bedroom. Here's the deal. Nick works his posterior off all the time. He works hard. He's really handy to the city of Davis, so they utilize him more than they should probably. But when he'd come home, he'd take his evening meds, sit back and just look on a laptop. Well, that's fine and good, but now, after he worked on it yesterday, he's got a television. He can kick back and watch movies, YouTube, whatever he wants to watch, make it his own, and that is where he's up to. Well, we got that done. Now I need to see if I can find this. I bought one of these last year. It's a one pay, only it was called a one card then. And they never sent me the permanent card. They said they couldn't. So I bought that one and put $20 on it. My wife has one she really likes, which I'm thankful for. It gives her the ability to do some things. But here's the deal. She has had some problems with her one card. Let me just see it. So I went through all the checkout system on it and tried to activate it, and they told me that I owed them $112. I don't know how. I never got a card and never used it. I used one I started with $100. They said I had a negative 112 balance. So I'm just leaving that alone. I carry too many cards anyway. I've got an actual credit card. But I've got a Walmart, what I call a burner card. It's a Visa. And I was just going to let it expire, but to keep from having, let me back way up, timeout. My grandson Ashton is autistic, and he's communicative. He can communicate, but he's like a little kid. When you tell him not to do something, he'll do it anyway if he wants to do it. However, he figured out how to use the Roku stick and the Vizio both. So Linda finished figuring it out. So now we have the Roku if we don't want things to Vizio, and we can do the Vizio part if we want to watch something else. So what I'm going to have to do, I didn't want to, but I'm going to, because she wants to watch all this other stuff, is I'm going to, I guess, put some money back on my old Visa burner card. I've got one that I really like. It's a Green Dot card, but I have a regular Walmart card. So I'll put a little bit of money on it today, later, when Nick and I go get my son Brandon from work. And I'll go ahead and keep it active. That way they can take out for Disney Plus and Hulu and all that. If she wants to watch Hulu, she can watch it with the old Vizio connection, because it's infrequent that it would time out on that stuff. And that's 2 sets of remote control devices, but that's fine. Well, that's another bit of something for my life. I decided to grow my whiskers back. Here's why I don't look like I used to look with whiskers. I had a guy, and I'm embarrassed to admit this, when we lived in Wilson, Oklahoma, and in Norman for a little while, I would find a way. I had a late friend, Claude G. Williams, who was the toughest man I've ever known in my life. He won 289 bare knuckle fights down in Texas. I'm not going to say where this place is at. I don't want to get sued. I don't think they're in business anymore, because this was 40 years ago. But there was a barn, and they'd have bare knuckle fights in there for money. It's kind of like Fight Club, if you will. Well, what started Claude on the path that he was on is he had his wife Patsy, and they were in a real nice upscale restaurant. Just a second. Boy, this is getting on my nerves. If you have little kids watching this, get them out of the room. I'm not going to use profanity or anything explicit, but just get them out of the room. Anyway, he was sitting there with Patsy, and there were two big bruisers over one table over. And back at that time, Patsy was probably the most beautiful red-headed woman you'd ever want to see. Claude wasn't in any great shape, so looks department. He looked like a twin of Goya Claw or Geronimo the Apache. I mean, looked just like him. And Claude was my best friend for a long time. We were partners in law enforcement. Anyway, they were sitting at the table, and the biggest one of these two guys come over behind Patsy and reaches his hands down in her strapless dress and starts trying to fondle her, and she's trying to get loose. Claude got up and he hit that dude with a right uppercut, and he knocked him over the other table and knocked him out with one punch. Claude was insanely strong for his size. He was about my son Nick's height, but thinner. But he was insanely strong, and he had hands. We used to call him Iron Hands. He and I went on a lot of adventures together. They always called me Rattlesnake, and they called Claude Bird Dog. Claude could find anybody, and I could too, but the reason they called me Rattlesnake is I'd always warn someone before I was fixing to light their world up. But Claude did that, and that dude he punched out was the reigning bare knuckles champion in that fight club. Well, the owner of that club was sitting 3 tables over, came up and said, "That is the most intense thing I've ever seen." And he handed him a business card and said, "If you're interested in making some serious money, get a hold of me." Well, the next week, he went and did his first fight. He made about $500 off of it. And for about 2 years, Claude fought 289 bouts, and none of them lasted over 15 seconds. He was that good. Well, I did some of that too. I was filled with rage, and absolutely filled with rage, and I took it out on other men. And most of the guys I fought were a lot bigger than me, but it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. And I'm not a small guy, I'm just going to tell you. And at that time I was built like a brick, extremely strong and angry all the time. But this brings me back to growing my whiskers back out. I really prefer not to have them because pollen gathers and I suck it right up into my fat nose and makes me sneeze, and my head plugs up and a lot of other things. But I was clean shaven here last week, a week before last. Linda and I were at the store, and I came across a guy that I pretty much crippled down at that fight barn. I never expected to see someone like that. Now, a lot of times I will run across someone I put in jail, and that has caused me some consternation. And so I always go armed now, because you never know when someone's going to want to put a bullet in me. And I've repented of all this. I've really worked hard on it. But I used to be an idiot. I'll just put it that way. But I came across a guy that I crippled. He still walks with a limp. He looked at me, did a double take, and he ran out the front doors to Walmart. I do not like that. I do not like people being afraid of me. I'm not that guy anymore. I go out of my way now to be kind. I really do. I go out of my way to help other people. It's not me trying to get in good with God. It's showing God I love Him and I want to do that which is right. And I invite people to go to church with me all the time. And I advise people to get right with God. Now that brings me back to the original message I wanted to convey on this. We're in scary times. Glenn Beck's referred to it, the last big battle, and there's somebody trying to get a hold of it. Okay. see who that is. On camera. Anyway, I've got a lot of folks that contact me on text, they'll contact me on Facebook, Messenger, worried about what is going on. Here's the deal, folks. Trust in God, really and truly. He has your best interest at heart always. He really does. Trust in Him. Accept Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, because He is. A lot of people don't believe that, but it is the truth. And God will take care of you. You've got to be thankful for what you have, for your blessings. That is really, really important, guys and gals. A lot of folks bemoan that they don't have anything, and they whine and, oh, I don't have anything, why should I be thankful? Well, if you're breathing and you had something to drink and something to eat today, you're rich. People don't like hearing this, especially in America, but there are nations all over this planet that people are starving to death. America, the United States of America, is still the land of opportunity. That is why people will do whatever they can to get here and hide and share in the plenty and the bounty. That's why we've got such a problem with illegal immigrants. Let's just call them what they are. Illegal visitors that have no business being here. Do it the right way. I have friends who are here illegally. They're going to get caught sooner or later, but it won't be due to anything I've done. I have a friend that employs the couple, and he said, well, they got Social Security cards, so they're here illegal. No, they're not. They stole someone's Social Security number, and there are outfits that print Social Security cards, and they'll use that number and it'll get paid in tax-wise. But that's stealing someone's identity, which is illegal. And like or hate Donald Trump, he and his administration are getting rid of a lot of problems. Now, I'm going to say one more thing. Juneteenth. I've had a lot of people be hypercritical about celebrating Juneteenth. They call it a black holiday. Actually, what Juneteenth is a celebration of something that should have been celebrated a long time ago. The actual freedom and freeing of slaves in America. Now, that's not the official explanation, but I have friends who are black that have taken that as their personal holiday, which I'm great with. I think slavery is abhorrent. Notice I said is, not was. There's still slavery in the United States of America. It's by folks human trafficking people to this country and selling them to someone as a servant, whether it's a sex slave or a labor slave or both. And they do it by trickery, they do it by theft, and I abhor that. I also abhor all the racist idiots out there. Let me tell you something. We all bleed red. We do. That is a fact. I have black friends in real life. I have brown friends in real life. I have folks with a small yellowish tint to their skin in real life. I love all of them. I have kinfolks like that too. So if you're a racist or you think you're better than someone else because of the color of your skin or because you're Caucasian, you're an idiot. We're all the same in the eyes of God, period. We all bleed red. And that's all I've got to say today. I'm going to upload this just to YouTube, not to the other channel. I don't think. I don't know yet. Anyway, God bless you. I mean that. Approach God. Study your scripture. And stop worrying. Things will happen. They happen. And from this old man that's been in a lot of violence in his life, violence is not the answer. Love, kindness, and letting God take over is the answer. Love you guys. Now, go take on the day. Bye.